Today we are going to take you on an adventure to Germany and bring you along the ride when our family first experienced the Renaissance.
Nudity and art.
And lots of nude people.
Yeah. And
because of all the nude people, why Europeans have such a healthy body image.
as Australians, and particularly myself coming from British stock, we were not particularly... What?
Sounds like you're from cattle. I'm from British stock.
Coming from British ancestry.
Oh, stop. I'm doing it. Ready?
No.
Oh my gosh, I'm the mini person. You're the I'm from British stock. It's livestock.
Yes, but the British are so impersonal. They show love to animals and dogs. Horses and dogs.
We might want British people to listen to our channel. Oh my gosh, you're out.
What I mean to
We
say
love
is,
British people.
I'm British. My parents are both British,
He's
and I have
from
British
stock.
blood. I have British stock running through my veins.
Hi everyone, I'm Skylar.
I'm Ross.
Welcome to Learning Brave YouTube channel.
Today we're going to be talking about one of the first things we did when we arrived in Europe. As we researched Europe, and particularly Germany, where we began, we read about this road called the Romantic Road.
So romantic.
It was.
Well, I think it is for other people.
Perhaps. Not with 5 children necessarily, and an 8-month-old baby. So our first stop was a small town called Augsburg.
I say Augsburg.
Oh, I like to say Augsburg.
We will probably pronounce everything wrong.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well,
it's our Australian accents butchering everything. Hey.
I'm good at pronouncing things. Augsburg.
Augsburg.
I say it like a Brit.
Because you're from British stock.
I'm from British stock. Yes.
We went on a little adventure to begin with, and we came across this little town called
Augsburg. In the southeast, in Bavaria, in Germany, the southeast of Germany.
Because in Australia we don't have buildings that are hundreds of years old, Europe was pretty exciting in that way. So we took our kids to the Augsburg town hall. It's called the
Rathaus.
We'll just go with his pronunciation. The Rathaus.
The Rathaus.
Rathaus. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, look, that could be wrong, but it sounds cool. The Rat House. We went to the Rat House.
The Rat House. So in the Rathaus, there was this amazing, beautiful gold ceiling, and so we were like, "Oh, kids, we're going to show you some his history and art and gold," and it was going to be really.
It was
great.
actually one of our very first ventures out to a historic building.
So it was really fun. We all went in there together, and we spent a lot of time staring up at the ceiling and marveling at all the gold.
Yes, but along with the gold, there was a lot of nude people.
Yeah, so you had to really look to find the hidden treasures. One of our sons, so we were trying to be really cultural, and we were like, ooh, look at the blah 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 of the art and the symmetry and all this stuff. And our kids were staring at it for a while, and one of our sons was like, that kid's peeing on the wall. And there was these paintings of
little
boys,
cherubs. When they little cherubs
peeing
on the wall.
So that was just the beginning, and then that was funny, and we all laughed.
Well, you can imagine the sort of questions that start coming our way after seeing this sort of art, because we'd never seen it before in Australia. We don't.
Well, I'd taken my kids to some art shows, but there are not many Renaissance art shows.
There's no buildings with paintings all over it.
Oh, I mean,
that are full of.
We have art galleries in Australia, but we didn't have anything like this, like the Rathaus. I know I'm saying that wrong. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Yes.
Like the Augsburg Town Hall, we didn't have anything like that, so that's really special. Anyway, we had that experience, and then we
on the way home after.
No, it was as we were coming into the town square. So we saw the town. Went to the town hall, and then we're coming out into the town square, and there was this big beautiful fountain, and because we were being
amazing.
all cultural, we're like, oh, look, a fountain, let's check it out. So we walk over there with our kids, and this fountain had women with water coming out their boobs. Is that what it was?
Are you allowed to say boobs?
I don't know.
There might be children watching.
Say your thing.
As we approached the fountain, we noticed that the fountain was made up of all different sculptures of men and women, and the water of the fountain was actually coming out of every orifice possible of those particular people that were portrayed in the fountain. And my kids just lost it. They thought it was
like
amazing.
Horrified. It wasn't even that bad, but they were just like mortified, and it was a very funny moment. But it was the beginning of our adventure in Europe and our awakening to how prudish we are in Australia.
Yes,
So,
and how Europeans have a really good sense of body image.
and a really healthy sense of like, this is my, well, I guess that's body image, but it's like,
It's a body.
it's
and
not perfect, it's a body,
whatever.
who cares?
Yeah.
My friend in the Netherlands used to say, clothing, optional. But in Europe. So
Thankfully, I was going to say thankfully we didn't see much of that, but our next story might be a little bit different to that.
yeah, we did. We saw heaps of nude people.
Well, not too many nude people. Not a lot of nude paintings, but not so many nude people. But this next story does describe one of those instances when we actually spent a lovely month in the Austrian Alps in a place called Maria Alm.
We recommend it. It's
Amazing.
heaven. If you ever get a chance to. If you want to find a secret hidden place, Maria Alm.
Maria Alm, up in the just south of the German border in the Austrian Alps. It was amazing.
It's a little piece of heaven. So we'd landed in this heavenly place to just kind of recover from the horrendous journey we'd been on to get to Europe. And
one day we wanted to attend a local pool.
well, we love swimming. Our kids are always leaping into water anyway, so it's good when it's like a purposeful activity that we intend on swimming rather than like rescuing them from lakes and stuff.
And fountains.
Fountains.
And
Oh my gosh.
all sorts.
Oh my gosh. On my blog, if you want to check it out, I have like, I mock it all the time, but there's like, I have photos all over Europe of like my kids like head down, bum up in every fountain. It's like they're water nymphs and they're like, water, and they just like
Straight in.
can't help
I love it.
themselves.
So this particular day, we're going to do the right thing by our children and go to a swimming pool. And so we attended the swimming pool, and one of the first things we noticed as we entered the swimming pool and got down to poolside is that there was some...
It was as we were walking along.
Yeah, I think we're walking along, you know, when you arrive at the pool and you want to sort of, you scan the area and say, where's a nice place for us to settle down? And then as we're scanning and we're walking, you know, you're walking along poolside and scanning at the same time, and all of a sudden our gaze is focused in on two... of an older couple. They're probably 70 plus, weren't they?
An elderly couple, and
Poolside. Changing. Completely nude.
yeah,
Getting into their after swimming gear.
they weren't being flashy. They were just changing.
just
They'd had a
changing.
swim, and they were putting their clothes on, drying off
Yes. And
in the open, on the grass.
our kids were sort of didn't quite know what to say about that, and we didn't quite know what to say either.
We're just like,
Okay.
our kids are like, oh, they're naked, and we're
We're trying to shush
yes,
them and
shh.
quiet, and just trying to find a place to settle.
Like it's just a body.
So we did finally find a place to settle, and we settled down, and the kids started playing. And you know, when you're at the pool with kids, they sort of start making their own little friends, and they started to do that.
Oh no, the baby was the baby.
Well, it was always the baby.
Yeah,
He always makes
the
friends
baby.
for us.
So the baby, any other mothers that had babies, we were like, hey, we're connected.
Yeah.
So we would like smile, and sometimes they knew some English, and we would chat a little bit and stuff. And we just noticed this like amazing confidence. I love it. I've tried to really bring that into our life now and teach my kids about using this as an example, because it felt really healthy. It felt like the women there were like, yeah, I got my baby belly, wearing a bikini.
Who cares?
Like all these like totally imperfect bodies for the world to see.
Yeah. Actually, I remember one experience that I had, which is really funny. My 5-year-old at the time there was a table tennis table right next to the pool, and he had started playing with another 5-year-old or something. But 5-year-olds aren't great at hand-eye coordination with balls, and so they're trying to play ping pong, and it wasn't working so well. So I come over and I sort of take his hand and start, and then the other child's mother comes over, and she was one of these people Skylar was describing. She'd obviously had a few children. She sort of had a bit of a baby belly. She had her bikinis on.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Not at all.
It's just we come from a culture where, I don't know, I felt like I was always trying to hide that.
Yeah. If you have that baby belly, you hide it. You don't show it. You sort of dress appropriately.
I don't know. Maybe it's just us, but that's how we felt in our culture.
So she came over, and so in the end, it was both of us holding our children's hands and playing ping pong, and then
you and this lady,
me and this lady, and our little kids, our 2 5-year-olds, and then finally the 5-year-olds sort of lose interest and they sort of waltz off, and in the end it was just me and this lady sort of smiling at each other.
You haven't told everyone what she was wearing.
Yeah, I did. She had this little skimpy bikini on.
So I look over and I'm like,
I'm just playing.
Ross is playing ping pong with a mostly naked person.
Just
awesome.
Just ping pong, and then after a little while, we're like, okay, our kids have gone. Maybe we'll stop now, and we sort of it was like an unwritten agreement, and we just put the table tennis table bats down, and we just sort of waltzed off a little bit. It was quite funny.
Which is funny, but we've talked about it since. I mean, there's a line, we want our kids to be modest and respectful of their bodies, but we also want them to not be ashamed and to find beauty in bodies. And so going to Europe and seeing the art there, and we'll talk more about all these funny experiences we had when we exposed our kids to more and more art from the Renaissance.
Oh yeah, that's a whole different one coming.
But I felt like it was a great thing to do for our kids, because they get this sense that it's beautiful, it's natural, it's fine. And it was a lesson.
And the thing for us, right, whenever we travel to different countries and we experience different cultures, we've now been to over 35 countries, and one thing I love the most is when you go there and you learn these things, that you can take little elements of each of those cultures and say, I love that about that culture and I want to make that part of me. And so I actually really liked this body image issue. I had actually spent a number of years living in Japan.
You said that wrong. You like the body image issue. That's what you said.
Yeah. What I mean is I like how
he's saying he likes nudity.
No, I'm not saying that.
I'm not saying that. Why are you talking about Japan now then?
Just hear me out. Just hear me out. She's twisting my words here. What I'm saying is that I liked how much they didn't care about body image.
Yeah, and I liked
in that way.
I liked that there seemed to be less obsession about having it all perfect.
Yes.
Look perfect. So when the friends I made over there and just the feeling I got from the culture was very much
yes.
Whatever. I recently watched this amazing YouTube video with my kids all about how our bodies are an instrument, not an ornament. And that's the feeling we got from Europe. Europe felt like, my body's an instrument. Woo!
So in the spirit of learning from other cultures and implementing some of that into our own life, a little bit later on in our trip,
he's about to tell you. Wait! I had to prelude your story.
You're going to prelude my great story.
He's about to tell you all about how he got really into this because he likes nudity, and he got really in the spirit of things and was like, "Yeah, we're living in Europe now. We're just going to strip off in public."
When in Rome, do as the Romans, right? We were not in Rome, we were in Germany, and we were actually traveling. It was in the height of summer, and I kept being encouraged to do spontaneous things by my wife here. She wants me to just be a bit crazy and be spontaneous. And so one time we're driving along and I was like, that's a beautiful river. Let's stop and swim. And so we did. We stopped and we walked down to the side of the river, and it was beautiful. There was nobody around except for the motorway, just in the background.
Oh yeah, there was no one around except for the freeway that had the bridge over the river that we were swimming in.
I mean, getting our kids a little bit naked and getting them in bathe is no problem. For me, it was just a pain to sort of find a little secluded place. So I just thought, well, we're in Europe.
Well, in hindsight, I could have held a towel up for you.
But that would have taken too long. So in the end, I just bared my backside to the freeway.
Yes, he
to
did.
the motorway, and it got changed. And my wife, instead of just letting it slide, she just had to sort of make a big deal about it in front of all my kids, right? That, oh, what are you doing getting so naked? And anyway, they saw me
He
naked.
was just getting into it a little bit too much, and we have like daughters. I was just chill.
I
Hold your horses a little bit.
just being European.
Yeah. So, hope you enjoyed our story.
Yes.
All
So
about
now
how awesome Europe is.
I have a very healthy understanding and appreciation for European body image.
But in all seriousness, it is something that we've tried to bring into our family. It's something we found very amusing, and we learned from it. And we learned, and just as much like when we have traveled to the Middle East, we learn from their respect, their like ultra respect for their bodies, where they're so modest. And I think that's amazing and beautiful too. There's something to learn from that too. So
Absolutely.
we're just going to talk about all the different things. But today we were just telling you about what we learnt from general nudity.
The Renaissance, nudity and art.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Remember, hit subscribe if you'd like to hear some more crazy stories, and the link below I've linked my blog if you want to read some more and check some more stuff out. So see you later.
Bye.
Hi everyone. Today, I don't know what I was going to say. Do something.
I'm just letting my brain work for a little bit.
You don't need to clap.
It just helps me to be focused and start.
We'll be the clapping channel. Learning brave, learning brave.
Hari Hari Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
You're being so mean to me. She's being mean to me.